Hi folks, welcome back to the LeetCode SQL 50 series. So here we are with the new problem in basic aggregation section, right? So the problem name is project employees 1, okay? So this one means generally, there are some series of problems with the problem name project employee. So in this LeetCode SQL 50 series, the list, they have only listed out problem number, project employees 1 only. Like, you can search on the, internet or Google LeetCode. You can search for project employees 2 3, and I don't know, it will contain some set of problems, like it will be asking some advanced version or medium version of questions. Okay, so for now we have been given this question, and lead code has categorized it as an easy problem. Okay, so let us see. Okay, so if you see guys, we have been given with two tables, right? Project, right? Project table, and we have an employee table. So in project table, if we go through the schema, we have been given two fields: project ID, which is of type integer, and employee ID, which is of type integer. So they are saying that project and employee both combinedly, they are the primary key for this table. Okay. Employee ID is the foreign key to the employee table. Cool. Each row of this table indicates that the employee with the employee ID is working on the project with project ID. Cool, guys. So it is nothing but employee, and which, like, it will have some project ID and it will have a employee ID. It is nothing but that employee is presently working in that current project, right? So nextly we have this employee table. So it is having three fields: employee ID, which is of type int, and name, which is of type variable character, and experience years in integer. Employee ID is the primary key for this table. It's guaranteed that the experience years is not null, right? So they have given this condition, and each row of this table contains information about one employee. Cool. Okay. So this is kind of a dimension table, guys. So employee table is kind of a dimension table. It will contain description about each employee. All right. And this is type of a relation table, guys. So it is basically, what it is mapping is, it is mapping both project ID and employee. So it is kind of a fact table only, I would say, right? So every quarter we'll be getting new projects inside an organization, right? So it is like a fact table only, because you always see fact tables will all not contain the description columns. It will always contain the IDs. Okay, so it will actually contain the relationships between tables. Those columns will only be present, right? So okay, let's come to the problem. And now they're asking us to write a SQL query that reports average experience years of all employees for each project, rounded to 2 digits. That's it, guys. So it's very simple now, guys. So the previous problem, if you have understood, like whatever problems we have been solving, and especially the previous problem also, if you have understood well, right? So now this easy will be making sense to you. Okay, because see, like this same problems we have been facing it right now, guys. In our previous problem also, we had that, right? We had that average selling price now, guys. So in that, what we were doing, we were getting the price. We had we didn't have the price for that particular product in the same table. So first we have brought all that prices according to the date into our second table, and then we were performing the aggregations, right? We were doing group by and performed aggregations. Here what we need to do, we need to find out the average experience for every project. So you can see every project is in my project table, and I do not have that experience years in that experience years column in this table. So I have to bring it from my employee table, right? So this is the vice versa kind of thing. Once I bring my experience, right, for every employee, I bring my experience years into this my first table, then I can simply group them by project ID, and I can take the average. Very simple now, guys. So all, like, the problems which we have taught, like which were listed easy, like before this problem, they were slightly towards the medium side, right? So now at this point of time, easy is making sense, guys. So now it is very easy, right? So we have been solving all these problems all these days. We were taking 40 minutes, like 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes. Average if I take, it is 20 minutes, guys. Average if I take all my videos till now, if I whatever videos I've uploaded, average is 20 minutes. You can see that only two videos I think they have crossed 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay, remaining all most of the 17 videos I've released before this video, right? No, 18, and only two to three videos are been 45 minutes, 45 plus minutes, and remaining around 8 or something kind of thing. They were having 20 plus minutes, and remaining all were less than 10 minutes only, guys. So if you take, I think an average would come around 20 minutes. Okay, so if you see that you have spent all that time right previously, so this problem now becomes very easy, guys, very easy for us. Okay, so now we will just go through the sample test case, right? So you can see that the table projects table is there and the employees table is there, and we have project 1 and employee id 1, project 1 employee id 2, project 1 employee id 3. This simply means that all this employee guys, employee id 1, employee id 2, employee id 3, they are currently working in project 1. Okay, and you can see there is one more project which is project id 2, and two employees are working in it, 1 and 4. So if you don't know, right, if you don't know, in corporates actually one employee can work in multiple projects depending upon his availability and his work. So if you are well and if you're well and good, if you know this, so just ignore it. So freshers or students, if you don't know, just think, just know this. Okay, one employee can actually work in multiple projects. Okay, so one you can see is working in project id 1, and he is also working at the same time, he's also working in project number 2. Okay, so now there is one more table, employee, and now this is a description table, right? So for every employee we have name and experience. Okay, so 1 Khalid, 2 Ali, right, 3 John, and 4 Do. Now what they are saying us to find is we need to find the uh, average experience years. Okay, average experience years. So average, again, we know how do we calculate average, right? So I assume that you have understood this, so I'm not going through each line and line explanation. I will explain you in the code itself. Okay, so you know that, right? So what we need to do is we need to bring this experience years, experience years we need to bring from employee table and attach it to the our this join table, and then we need to group it by project id, and then we can take the average. So previously we were not able to use that average function because that was average selling price, and it was like number of we need to uh, sum up the total price, and also we need to divide it by the number of products sold, right? So we need to not we had made some mistake earlier, and we had corrected it. Okay, rectified it, and we have solved it. Okay, so here I don't think so nothing will happen there, because now what we will do is we will add up the experience years, and then we can divide it by the number of employees. Very simple, we can use the average function, right? So I assume that I do not need to explain, right, in very nitty-gritty thing, right? So if what will happen if you join all these things. Okay, okay, so I'll just show you in the code. Okay, so let us directly jump onto the code. Okay, because we have spent a lot of amount of time in our previous problems, right? Now we will start running. Okay, we will start running. Okay, and in upcoming videos, right, in upcoming advanced problems, right, we will start flying. Okay, that is why I've spent a lot of time in my beginning problems, so that now it becomes easy for us. Okay, so now let us start the problem. So guys, what we need to do, we need to find the average experience years for every project. For every project, guys, for every project, for each employee, for each student, for each product, right? For each, whenever you see this, absolutely a left join will come. So left join, the left table is what? Project table. So guys, if you have forgot to use left join, no worries, right? You can use right join. We have also seen that in our previous problem, right? It is very similar. It is just upon just the contradiction to that, right? It is very same. Okay, so now what we will do, we'll do from the projects table, from project P, left join employee E. All right, from project P, left join employee E. And on what condition, guys? On what condition will you do it by project ID? No, right? Employee ID is the common key. Employee ID is the foreign key, which is acting as the primary key for employee table. So on employee ID, we'll be joining these two tables. Okay. So on my P dot employee ID equals to E dot employee ID. So let us now first see. We will do a select star. We'll do a select star, and let's see the output of this table. Okay, for this particular query. you can see, my dear friends, right? So we have got two, we have got complete join table, right? So these two columns are coming from my left table, which is project, and these three are coming from my right table, which is employee. And if you see, every every employee was matched, right? So if you see, these are not ordered. So let me, for readability purpose, let me just do some ordering. Okay, I'll just give order by both the project ID and employee ID. Okay, project ID comma p dot employee ID. So for readability purposes, it will look good. Let me run it, and you can see, one project ID 1, employee ID 1, right? So it got matched with my this employee table. So we have now got in one single table, we have employee IDs, right? Project ID, we have employee ID, and we have name, and we have experience years. Now it is simple now, guys, right? Now it is simple. What we can do is, what they've asked us, to find out the average experience for every project. Now for if, we have somehow we have joined it by the employee ID, and we have got the experience of every employee, right? Now what we can do, we can simply group it by the project ID, and we can take the average function. We can do the average, we can apply the average function on the experience years. Okay, we can apply the average function on the experience years, and that will give you the average years for that project. As simple as that. Okay, so if I uh, so just understand, this is my whole table, whole join table. Okay, so what I'm saying was, so I'll take project ID, so it is in project table. So p dot project ID, and I want what I want the experience years. So experience years is in employee table, e dot experience years, right? And if I do this, right, so this is what my table, guys. So why it is taking so much time? Is the spelling wrong? I think it is correct only. Yeah, so you can see, guys, this is what I mean, I've just filtered out the required columns. I've just selected the required columns. Now you can see what we have project ID and the experience years for every employee. Now to find out the average, what is this, guys? We have been seeing this average in many problems. Now what we need to do, we have to group it by one, right? And then we can simply apply the average function. Okay, now we can use the average function. In previous problem, it was some it has happened differently, but we can use now average function, right? So cool, guys. Right, so what we will do, we'll just remove this up, or just comment it out for now, and we will group now. Okay, so we will group it by the project ID. So project ID is in my projects table, so p dot project ID. So after grouping, right, so all these three records will be in my first group, and these two records will be in my second group. Okay, then we can perform aggregations on this particular field. Okay, so what we need to do on that particular field, we need to find the average. All right, so average, so we can just do average of e dot experience years, and we will just rename it as average years. All right, so now let us run this. Okay, so you can see that I've grouped it by project ID, and I'm also selecting it. Okay, so we need to select, absolutely select to the group by column, right? Otherwise you will not be able to see the group data. You cannot do select star also, guys. So now if I do this, if I run this query, and you can see it has passed the our sample test case. But guys, there is one more thing that we need to do. What we need to do is, we need to round it to the 2 digits. Okay, that is this average years. Okay, so we have applied the average function. It is calculating the required average. What we can do is, we can pass the complete average solution to the round function, and we can, they have set us to give the 2 decimal places. Okay, rounded to the two digits, two, that is 2 decimal places. Okay, so now if I run this query, so it will be, it should pass on my sample test case, yes, And now let me just submit it and let me check if it is passing for my backend test cases. So cool guys, it has passed. So yeah, so you can see that like we have spent a lot of time in our previous problems, and now it has become very easy. And first time, you know, this easy, right, easy categorization is making sense, right? So let us just go through the other submissions. So if you can find any other better solution, and if you go through this is pretty much the same. Okay, so pretty much our solution only, right? There is no difference in it. So yes, so that's it guys, that's it from this problem. You know, I hope you have found it this very helpful. And now you can see that we have just completed this problem in less than, you know, 10 minutes. You know, the video of the length is you know, around 16 or 15 minutes, but you know, the half of the time, right, the first 10 minutes will be only on the understanding, you know, reading the problem and understanding it, right? So remaining we have just solved it. We've just implemented it in very you know, very five, I think only 5 minutes only, right? So you know, the most of the time is about, you know, understanding the problem and trying to, you know, get the logic, right? Logic aura, get the logic aura, and then it for implementing it is very easy. So yes guys, that's it from this problem. I will meet you in the next problem. So until then, you know, happy learning and thank you.